Hello! No good morning today. I have not turned on my camera until this moment. I did not turn it on all day because it was pretty go, go, go. The family that was going to come over a couple of days ago, they got to come over. So we had a really, really nice time. The time just flew by. It was so fun. And they're going to come tomorrow for lunch too, which is why I had to come to the grocery store, also known as the commissary in military posts, to get some things I needed to make some very nice arroz con gandules, because of course you go to a Puerto Rican home, you eat arroz con gandules. Pretty much the entire morning was just about the routine that you've probably seen 100 times if you've been watching from the very beginning. So I fed the dogs, fed the fish, watered the plants, Swiffered the floor, and especially more now because I bathed Luna yesterday. If you have not seen that video, you do not want to miss it. I'm going to link it above. So now she's shedding more hair, and because she's clean, it's very fluffy. So I try to Swiffer it and it just floats away. So I was even Swiffering while I was talking to them because they also have a 2-year-old and I didn't want her to just be covered in hair. So while we were talking, I would occasionally Swiffer. Other than that, I didn't even get to touch my vlog until after they left. So I started editing around 1, which is why I posted so late last night. After they left, I had a small lunch and I prepared for my class at 3, my tutoring at 4, and here we are. So I didn't want to turn on my camera and just bore you with the things that you've already seen day after day. The only interesting thing really is the insurance pharmacy situation, because now my family member got a bill from 2 different places for over $1,000 each, which means that tomorrow morning I'm going to be back on that phone calling these people. And I still have not dealt with my $1,500 medical bill because I have not been able to access my health insurance online. That's pretty much the only drama, exciting thing in my life right now. Anywho, I'm on my way home, so I will see you in the kitchen in a few minutes. One of the most frequent questions my husband and I get as a married couple, since I have such a restricted diet, is how do you manage the kitchen? For us, it seems very trivial and something so logical and simple, but when we tell people, they say that seems like too much work. So I'm going to show you how I make the same meal, Vero safe, and for my husband. I know that family's coming tomorrow over for lunch, but I feel like with my vlogging schedule and everything else I do in the morning, especially since I have to make those phone calls for the health insurance and pharmacy issue, it's better for me to prepare the meal now and reheat it tomorrow. And it kind of works out too, because if you've ever had arroz con gandules or pollo guisado, which you're about to see if you don't know what those terms mean, it kind of is even better the next day because everything has time to absorb the flavor. I'm going to prepare everything tonight and you'll see how I make food for both myself and everybody else, even though it's the same meal. As you can see, I already have both pots out. So this one's mine, obviously smaller because it's just for one person. One of the key things to keep in mind is what spoon you're using to cook in each pot, because cross-contamination is real. It is a thing. If you use the same spoon that you're using here, where there's garlic and onion and everything I can't have, and then you use it to stir in this pot, the essence of garlic and onion and everything I can't have will transfer to my food and I will get sick. So we've worked out a system, left and right. Since I'm a lefty, everything that belongs to me is on the left and everything that's for my husband is on the right because he's a righty. And when it comes to this stuff where it's front and back, the stuff that's smaller is mine because I'm tiny, and the stuff that's bigger is his because he's 6 feet tall. All right, you guys, I am not a food vlogger, so forgive me if this is not the optimal angle for this and if the audio is horrible, but I'm working with what I got. The first thing I use is coconut oil. We were using olive oil, but we're out. And it's okay, you don't even taste the coconut when you're cooking meals like this. So it's coconut oil, and for this you can use the same spoon for both pots. And I don't have any measurements really for anything. If you're from the Caribbean, you know, or from the South too, you cook from the heart. And for me, even though I can't eat this food, you're gonna see that I cook by smell. If it smells right, I feel that it's good. Now this spoon that's for both pots, I can put in the middle. Like, I don't know if you can see the middle, but it's right here in the middle. If it were for me, it would be at the very top. If it were for my husband, it'd be at the very bottom. Then I use some pink Himalayan salt. Again, I just kind of eye it. There's no measurement. I try to cover the whole bottom of the pot pretty much. Less is more, like makeup. If you need more salt, then you can sprinkle some on. If you needed less salt, there's no way to fix that. So I'd rather this be a little undersalted than oversalted. So that's that for the salt. And as I use the ingredients, I put them away so that I know I put them in there. Parsley for both pots as well. And again, I don't really measure anything. Oregano for this one. I do put oregano in my food, but I'm finding that I like it a little more without oregano. I have nothing against it. It doesn't make me sick. I just kind of like it without. I'm going to put a whole bay leaf in this pot and half a bay leaf in this pot. And I break it up and try to make it more powdery or flaky, if that makes sense to you. I don't need half a leaf. This one's really tiny, so it kind of works like half a leaf. This is sofrito. It's homemade. For those of you who don't know, sofrito is a mix of ingredients. You can Google it. There are different recipes for it. Mine in particular, because it is Vero safe, it doesn't have garlic, onion, or any of the really tasty stuff, but mine is still good. It's coriander leaf with cilantro and green, forgive me if it's the wrong term, but cubanelle peppers, the long ones, olive oil, and when we can find them, the really small sweet pimentos or peppers, I include that in there. For really good sofrito, you can Google that. So I put it in an ice cube tray, freeze it, and then use it when I'm gonna cook. Sofrito is like anything else. You don't really measure it. And I honestly don't think you can ever have too much sofrito. That's my opinion. Now we're getting into the differences between the two pots. This is gonna have the stuff I cannot eat, and this is the stuff that's Vero safe. Starting with tomato sauce versus tomato paste. For me, it's better to eat or consume tomato paste because you can use less of it and still get the same effect as tomato sauce, and it's less irritating for me. About this much tomato paste in my food, and then for the other food is tomato sauce because you use more of it, and it's a decent amount. Now it's all things that won't even go into my pot, so now I cover mine just in case anything kind of floats up in the air and falls into my pot. And I'm going to put some sazon in there. I'm using the one with saffron. I believe this one gives it even better flavor than the other sazon that's available in the yellow box. I use the whole envelope, and when I'm making a lot of food, I'll use 2 and 3 of them. If this is already in your sofrito, I suggest not putting in more unless it's fresh onion that you're chopping, but this is just onion. And some garlic. Again, if it's in your sofrito, you're going to add more, maybe just a touch, but since my sofrito doesn't have any, I'm going to put in quite a bit. Finally, the last one is sliced pimentos. We call them in Spanish pimientos morrones, so that's this. I've even heard some people call them fancy pimentos. Not sure why. Just going to be generous with it. They smell so good. Now this spoon comes all the way down here at the bottom of the stove. So you see that one's here, the other one's over there. And that's it for this pot, which by the way, the smell is killing me because I want to eat it. It smells fantastic. It's not even cooking yet. I'm going to let the ingredients cook first. So I'm going to put them in about 7 or 8, so pretty high heat. And I'm going to show you the difference. Look at this pot. Oh my goodness. And then look at my pot. And now I just let it cook. In Spanish we say sofreír. I'm not entirely sure what you would call it in English. If my college professor is watching, she suggested a really good translation for another time I couldn't think of a term. If you know sofreír in English, I would really appreciate it. Now while that stuff cooks, I'm going to start preparing the chicken because I'm going to make it in the oven. Since it's so much, I don't have a pan big enough for them. And I'll take advantage of that, the fact that I'm using the oven, and make some salmon for me tonight. Never mind, it boiled a lot faster than I thought it would. I think it's just that this burner works faster than that one. Again, mine is smaller, his is bigger, and mine's going in the back and his is going in the front. It smells so good. I do 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice, so it's a 2-to-1 ratio. And now I turn the heat up again so it'll boil. I don't know what my dog is doing. So now I'm gonna deal with the chicken. Now you'll notice I didn't put any of the ingredients away because I'm actually gonna use the same things to make the chicken, and they're not gonna taste the same. To give the chicken a little more flavor, I'm gonna use butter to grease the pan as opposed to olive oil or coconut oil. So I'm just grabbing, you can grab any butter you want. I'm grabbing the one we have at home. Yeah, this much. The chicken is already thawed, it's not frozen, so I don't have to worry about the butter not spreading evenly. All right, let's come back over here for a second because the water already boiled, so I have to throw the rice in. And I'm doing 1 cup for me, 2 cups for them. Now these are the gandules, in case you've never seen them before. They're translated as pigeon peas, which makes no sense to me, but sure. And what I do is, if you want to be really generous with your gandules, you would use 1 whole can in each. But because of my sensitivities, I can't do a full can, so I'll do about maybe 1/3 for me and 2/3 for them. I don't feel that it smells absolutely fantastic. There are times where I make rice that it's so good, even I want to eat it, like, despite my issues, but sometimes it just comes out kind of regular, and this time I feel that it's regular. If my husband were home, he would tell me maybe a pinch of this, a dash of that, but by smell, I can already tell it smells a lot like the rice my parents and my grandma used to make, but it doesn't have that, oh my gosh, I can't wait until it's done smell. I think it's okay. I'm gonna leave it that way. Don't want to ruin it. Now back to the chicken. Don't judge, but I have a weird thing about texture. When I make hamburgers from ground beef or ground turkey, I'll actually use this to make the patties. And my husband will use his hands. I can't touch raw meat. I'm sorry. So don't judge me, but I'm using tongs. Now I said I was gonna make salmon for myself, but I completely forgot I got chicken breasts. So I forgot that I decided that I wanted to eat chicken too. And then unfortunately, obviously this is going in the trash, so I have a little more trash today. And now I season everything. So let me show you how I do this. Salt always goes first. For them, I'm gonna use some onions, garlic, now here's where you can start playing around with condiments. I'm going to make it guisado or sauteed, but I'm going to use rosemary. So it's like rosemary chicken a la Puerto Rican. I don't know if that's a thing, or I'm making something up, or maybe it's my new thing. But I'm gonna put rosemary and sofrito. I put parsley in mine just because it's an anti-inflammatory leaf, so I'm not gonna put in this one, but yes for me. This is mine, and it's done. I put some sofrito with some water in a cup. I'm gonna throw some tomato sauce in there. Again, I'm not measuring anything, so just kind of go with your instincts. Just mixing it up and melting the sofrito. And now that it looks like this, just pour it over. It's okay if you have some frozen sofrito still in there. It's gonna melt and smear anyways. Let's go back to the rice. My water has already evaporated, and that's when I turn it. Turn down the heat to low, cover it, The other one still has water in it. So I wait for that to evaporate and then I turn it. While that happens, I start putting things away. The water evaporated, so now I'm going to turn it. I set it to low, and to be frank, I'm not in love with the smell. I have cooked better rice. It's hard. I never make the same rice twice. Sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's just meh. Right now it's somewhere in the middle of meh and oh my gosh. Here's a small eco-friendly tip. My husband is still practicing this, so I know a lot of people do this. Instead of using paper towels to clean up the tomato sauce that was around the edge of the can, I just used the rag that I'm using to do the dishes because I'm gonna put soap on it anyway and it's going to get cleaned. It's like I'm already washing a dish, but it's dry. So I kind of don't see the point in using paper towel for something so small and creating more trash. As for the can itself, we have one of those top can openers, so the top actually comes off like this. The edges don't cut. I can reseal it and use it again, so I don't even need another container for this or use anything else to get dirty. It's just this in the same container it came in. Same goes for my tomato paste. My tomato paste has its own lid, so I don't need another container, and it's good to go in the fridge because it's nice and sealed. Okay, so now everything's put away. I'm gonna do some dishes and unload the dishwasher while that cooks and the chicken cooks. I just keep an eye on everything while I keep working, and that's pretty much it. That's how I also keep the kitchen tidy as I cook, because I know it's a tendency to kind of just use something and leave it there and clean up after you cook, but I feel for me, it's easier for me that I know that sometimes I get sick after I eat to just clean up as I go, because it has happened that I leave a mess in the kitchen, I eat, I flare, and then who's gonna pick up after me, you know? So that's one of the reasons I do that. The other reason is I feel it's also just easier. So up to you, that's how I do it. Hope it helps. Food's ready. Here's my rice and rosemary chicken. I was gonna put some avocado here, but it's still not ripe enough, so maybe tomorrow it'll be ready. And I also wanted to show you the difference between my rice and the other one. It smells amazing. Okay, it does. It smells great. After I smell my own rice, like, oh, memories, my childhood. It's midnight. Actually, it's almost 1 a.m. Why am I still up? Because I had things to do that I'm not gonna have time to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, well, later this morning, in the morning, however you say it, I need the first couple of hours to do the health insurance phone calls. And if those permit, because they don't take too long, then I can try again with my health insurance to try to get the EOB, the explanation of benefits, for the medical bill of $1,500. My dog is coming because I started talking. Hello. This is her treat for being clean. When she's clean, she can come up on the couch. But I'm done, so it's time for bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the food, the first time I ever show how I cook. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share my video and channel. Remember to leave comments below for questions and suggestions for future videos, and to follow me on Instagram, where you can find pictures of my daily life as well. Facebook is a little more restricted, but if you are friends with me on Facebook, then hey, drop some love, and I will see you guys tomorrow. She hid her face in my arm now. Good night, you guys. Hope you get some rest like she will.